Over the past few weeks, Games Workshop has faced boycotts, has faced angry messages on social media, and the backlash doesn't seem to be dying down for them. And now a former Epic Games executive is suggesting Amazon is tanking Warhammer with wokeness in order to purchase Games Workshop on the cheap. I have a few things to show off, but before we get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, follow me on social media, and consider supporting through Patreon or through YouTube memberships. Now, I have been covering the Warhammer situation with every big update that has released, and this really has gotten people talking about the potential of what would happen if Amazon got their hands on Games Workshop. This is a That Park Place article. It says former Epic Games business development manager Alexei Sevchenko suggests that Amazon should tank Games Workshop and Warhammer with wokeness so that the company's stock price will tank and then buy the company on the cheap. Over the past couple of weeks, the company's stock price has actually tanked, and we even saw the CFO sell 2/3 of her share, which definitely does not bode well for the company. It says he shared his idea on X. You know, if I was Amazon, I would continue applying pressure with TV series for lore changes, dismantle Games Workshop's relationships with the fan base, drop their price, and just buy them pennies on the dollar, and then launch TV faithful to lore. Just saying. Now, of course, this is not a new theory by any means, but it definitely sounds like there is a plan in place, that there is some kind of scheme that is being, very carefully pieced together by Amazon in order for this to happen. His comments, of course, come in the wake of Games Workshop retconning their Adeptus Custodes faction with a new female custodian, and then gaslighting Warhammer hobbyists and enthusiasts by claiming it was not a retcon and that there had always been female custodians. They have definitely been facing the wrath of the player base ever since this was announced, and we actually heard that, according to rumors, this was done at the behest of Amazon, that basically Amazon wanted females in the upcoming TV series to be in power armor, which of course they completely ignored the Sisters of Battle, which upset a lot of people. But regardless, Games Workshop did make these changes and added female custodians to the lore, and then of course gaslit fans by saying it wasn't a retcon, there's always been female custodians, even though the lie detector has determined that is a lie. They were known as the Brotherhood. We have heard in a plethora of different pieces of lore that it was a male-only faction, which should be perfectly fine. Male dominant factions, female dominant factions, those should not be problems. But of course, Games Workshop didn't agree. They said since the first 10,000 were created, there's always been female custodians, even though there has never been a single one mentioned. And of course, this has led to some massive boycotts, tons of people canceling their Warhammer Plus subscriptions, saying that they are no longer going to be supporting the company. And when it comes to this rumor of Amazon basically tanking the company and trying to dismantle Games Workshop relationships with the fan base, drop their price and just buy them for pennies on the dollar, this really wouldn't be that shocking, okay? Games Workshop makes quite a lot of money. Their global profits amounted to around $215 million in 2023, so they're making money. But of course, Amazon doesn't care about the tabletop game. They want it to make video games and shows and movies. The tabletop game makes money, but Amazon is not focused on tabletop. Of course, they could end up becoming the sole retailer for Warhammer, or the primary one, but they're really focused on TV shows and movies and the digital elements of this franchise. I mean, look at how much hype there has been surrounding the upcoming series simply because of one actor. There has been so much excitement just around Henry Cavill, never mind just the Warhammer fans who don't particularly care that Henry Cavill is excited, and never mind if they decided to make, a movie trilogy or another TV series. It definitely seemed like with the Henry Cavill series, it was kind of like a soft launch to see what the reception would be. And of course, we don't know any writers on the project, any producers. We don't know any sort of budget because it has not actually gone into production yet, but we do know that someone like Henry Cavill is a part of it, and actually there is a rumor that he does not want to be part of this series anymore unless they revert the female Custodes changes, which definitely would not bode well for Amazon or Games Workshop, because if Henry Cavill was to leave now, of course, that would be a massive shame. We've all been very excited about the series because he was going to be part of it, but also there would be more people boycotting Games Workshop's work in Warhammer in this show because, of course, he would be gone. So this would not be a very positive situation for anybody involved in the matter. Now, of course, do we have proof that Amazon is behind this massive scheme and they are, applying lots of pressure for lore changes and they really want to dismantle Games Workshop relationship with the players? We do not have any significant evidence, but this has been suggested in several leaks at this point, and it's being suggested by people who are, yes, part of the video game industry still, and people who are part of, very big companies. And of course, take everything with a grain of salt. I always say this, even if we are talking about someone who currently works at Games Workshop, right? Take everything with a grain of salt. But with the amount of people who have been releasing information like this, and of course with how much backlash there has been surrounding Games Workshop after the lore changes, it really does seem like they went from 1 to 100 very quickly. They initially had this plan, they were sticking with it regarding, the all-male Custodes, and then they just magically one day flipped the switch and said, nope, this is the case, this has always been the case, telling fans that they were wrong and that they didn't understand the lore, which of course is absurd. Of course, while I know quite a bit about Warhammer and I like Warhammer, there are people who have dedicated decades to consuming Warhammer content and Warhammer lore and know the lore much more than I could, and most people do, because they are so extremely dedicated, and to insult those people is just not going to work out for Amazon or Games Workshop or anybody that is part of this picture. Of course, it will be interesting to see over the next few weeks and months what comes of this. If they decide to announce more changes, if they decide to revert changes, I personally wouldn't hold my breath for that. Or if anytime soon we get new information on this show, I personally think they are going to announce that it is officially in production relatively soon, that there is going to be basically a domino effect with one announcement after another announcement. Maybe they'll even announce some more spin-off series, who knows? But right now, things are not going well for Amazon, Games Workshop, and Warhammer, and right now people are still extremely upset over this situation, and with this executive suggesting that Amazon is trying to purchase Games Workshop on the cheap, it doesn't really sound that shocking. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.